I was born on the north side of Philadelphia by my mother, single parent mother, and she died when I was about maybe 4 years old. My grandfather, he was a very instrumental part of my life, surviving and living in Pittsburgh. He was a minister, Elder O.T. Tillman. I speak of him quite highly because he is my hero. I was just having my first daughter, and I got married at, I think it was 19 or something like that, and I needed a job, and I skipped out of school, and I chose to go into the steel mills back there. I got very attached to the job, whereas they made me a track foreman. They had a crew, and I was so good, I started training other people. And I did that for up to about 80-something, 1984 it was. It was the recession that came about. I started drinking. Well, I was drinking prior before that because I thought I was a man. We drank socially on the railroad, but I drank more. It progressively got worse, and then I started working in bars because I needed money, and there was more drinks there for me, and I drank, and I started meeting people on the other side of the tracks, like doing other things, drugs and nightclub, and I changed my lifestyle, and I started distancing myself from my family, and somewhere I got lost. I crossed that invisible line, and I found myself, gone for days, not seeing my kids, and by then I had 3 daughters. But after I started drinking and I started missing and wasn't going to work no longer, I started distancing myself from them, and I seen myself losing connection with my family. So my brother, he lived in Las Vegas, my oldest brother, Alan, and he called and told me there was a spot for me in Las Vegas. And I came out to Las Vegas, and I ran into Mr. Binion at the Horseshoe on Fremont Street. And I seen this guy come with this big cowboy hat, and he looked down at me and said, son, you look like you need a job. And I said, wow, how did he know that? And I said, yes, sir, I need a job. He said, well, you go to dealing school, and you learn something, how to deal cards or something, and come back and see me. So I went to international dealing school down in Las Vegas, and I learned how to deal blackjack 21. I learned how to deal 7-card step poker. After 8 months, I went back and I did an audition for Mr. Binion, and I did well. And he said, well, we gonna hire you. You want a job. And it was going good for a while. But I was getting lonely from my family. I was trying to relocate my family out the west where I was staying at. I wanted to be with my daughters so bad, but in between that was drinking came up again. See, untreated behavior, if you're not getting it treated, it will surface. So I didn't work, and over the period of time, somebody mentioned to come to LA, you can live free. When I came here, I got on GR, and the next thing I know, I was pouring myself another drink. And I became another alcoholic, like the rest of the alcoholics down on Skid Row. Right along with alcohol, I ran into the cocaine crack. And I never imagined that I was going to be that far caught up in the disease of addiction. But here I was, and I became homeless. I lived on the street. After a period of time, my daughters would call me. They would call me frequently to try to get me to come home. And I would tell them I was, but I knew I was not in the condition to go nowhere. And I was ashamed to have the way I became. And I would tell them promises that I wouldn't fulfill. I've been in a lot of these missions. As a matter of fact, I've been in all of them downtown temporarily. I would get well, and then I would go back to the street, and I would do it just for the weather. I would go in for the weather. I wasn't going in for me. I would go in for it because sometimes it would get rainy season. I would run into the missions and stay for 3 or 4 months and get real healthy and get well, and then it starts raining. I'm going back to the streets. It's been on for 20 years. 20 years in and out of places. And one thing, I never did no time in jail. I was never incarcerated. My time was mainly on the streets of Skid Row. I remember some days I would walk in the rain. I would walk in the rain, and I'd fall asleep in the rain, wet, wake up wet. And that tends to take its toll if you're living down the street for 20 years. And Valentine's Day 2005, I laid down there on the sidewalk, and a young lady came from Pittsburgh, my daughter. She flew out here, and she came down here and paid people to find me on Skid Row. I was asleep at the time she called my name out. I never heard those words, Daddy, quite a while. And I looked up, I see this girl walking across the street that I didn't even recognize her, and I didn't even want her to touch me because I was so dirty and nasty. And she said, Daddy, I didn't come here for you not to see me. I come to save you. And I always wanted to get saved. I wanted to come off on Oprah show and my family would be there. I always wished at night I would wish that would happen. I said I wanted somebody would save me. My oldest brother, he came with my daughter, and between the two of them, they gave me hope. They made me realize it was worthwhile living. I walked into the Salvation Army, and that's my sobriety date, April the 1st, 2005. While I was in there, I stayed there 9 months. I watched them build the Rainbow. I watched it, and I was looking at them building this building like they're building an abbey over there, and I wondered if I could ever get in that place. My last interview, Michael interviewed me, and he said, "Mr. Taylor, you've been accepted in the Rainbow." And I was so happy. I was so happy. He said, "You got 89 units, and what you can do is walk through the building and pick your room out of 89 units." After my life on Skid Row for 20 years, here I made it. I ran to a building for the first time in my life, and it's a Rainbow. The name, the place, and I pick my room out, and I look out on my balcony. I see the high rise of the buildings downtown, and I see on the other side of me, I see where I used to live at. So I can remind myself, I can see both sides from my balcony. And it was kind of hard at first for me, because I had never paid rent, because I've been so used to using my money for drugs and alcohol. It took a lot of strength for me to go get a money order, be responsible, come back and hand it to them. I'm so grateful that I make sometimes spaghetti and chili, and I feed the people in the street. I can get up and I can iron, I can pray, I need that time of meditation. I can be by myself, and I get up and I listen to gospel music. I can listen to the news, which I never had a TV before. All those luxuries that I have today just from the Rainbow is very instrumental in keeping me where I'm at today. See, the Rainbow gave me peace. The Rainbow gave me happiness. It gave me serenity. And it gave me a strength, an inner strength that I can live again. In places like these, the Rainbow and other places, a lot of us really need it down here. But it's not for those who need it, it's those who really want it.